opening a new location every year for the next 10 years till we get to 14 locations and valued at, my goal is that we become valued at $1 billion. Hey, I'm Mike Ungaro, and welcome to Fish Factor. I'm CEO, visionary, and business co-owner of the Kings of Fish TV series on Amazon Prime and the legendary San Pedro Fish Market. Thanks to our extremely loyal customer base, we became the second most visited attraction on the entire Western Seaboard, serving over 2 million guests a year. Here, you'll get a behind-the-scenes look at running a multi-generational family business since 1956, the highs, the struggles, and the challenges of working with family. Subscribe now so you don't miss it. All right, here's the catch of the day. On today's episode, I'm excited to be joined by Nathen Fox, who I have known for well over a decade. About a year or so before the pandemic, he made an offer to introduce our company to a new program that he was working with and recently started implementing called the Entrepreneurial Operating System, or EOS. We accepted the offer, and it forever changed the San Pedro Fish Market enterprise. As a matter of fact, without EOS, I am certain we would not have survived the pandemic or the eviction from our legacy locations on the LA waterfront. Nathen, welcome to Fish Factor. How are we doing today?
Good to be here, Mike. I'm doing great. It's great to be with you. Great to see you virtually, even though we haven't been together in a while.
It's been a long time.
We need to do that.
Yeah.
But things are going great.
Although we do both text almost on the daily regarding our Peloton rides with another group, I will say that. It feels like I see you all the time.
Yeah, we do communicate pretty much daily, which is it's really good, keeping my workouts consistent.
Yes, keeps us honest. I
Yes.
think I was thinking, we've both had like shoulder issues and different, like the group of us have all had some sort of breakdown in our bodies. I think those are the kind of things that would have had me completely drop out of the practice altogether if it wasn't for the texting between our group, because there's no way I would have got over 800 rides with the amount of different injuries, pains, and sicknesses.
Right. No, you've got 800 rides. I've got I think I'm on 199 weeks at a streak, so I got 200 weeks coming up.
Incredible.
And that never would have happened without the group, because I know there are a bunch of times that I wanted to stop, and I said, no, I got this commitment to the group. I got to do it.
It also, I'm in the last of the time zone, so by the time I wake up, everybody else has already worked out. I'm like, man, all right, fine.
Yeah.
It's good motivation for sure.
Exactly.
So, hey, I was, as I was thinking and preparing for our talk today, I had kind of forgotten about the crazy intersections that we put together in our lives before we knew, I think we knew each other for a while, but we didn't realize the way that our lives have been intersecting in the past without ever meeting.
Right.
Which one are you thinking of when I say that?
Well, I'm thinking of the house.
Yeah, that's the one for me. Yeah,
Your San Pedro house.
Yeah, your brother lives there, right?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
my brother bought it from you, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was before I knew you.
Oh my God, yeah, that would have been probably 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, 2003, and I don't think you and I met probably till closer to 2008 or 9, maybe something like that. 2000.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah. So, and we didn't know that. We did not put that together. And then the other one was Tommy and my dad's best friend, John Bassage, who's like one of my uncles.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that one too, because you were you held the role like CFO, right, in the company he was founding.
Yep.
Or chairman of the board.
John Bassett was chairman. I was CFO. Right.
Yeah.
I
So
forgot about that one.
in a previous episode of Fish Factor, I interviewed another friend of John's and my dad's and Tommy, an attorney friend that had stories going all the way back to like 1968 when he first started working for us, and I didn't know, like, my grandfather had paid for him to go through college, and then he would work the summers off paying him back. So it's just kind of part of that same big family dynamic between who you knew of John Bassage, my dad, my grandfather, Tommy, are
Right.
founders, and it's just weird how as we're documenting some of this history through this show, like these intersections keep popping up. Some of them I didn't know existed. So
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
It was a great pleasure to work with him, and I learned so much, even from our minimal interactions, but just his ethics and his focus was fantastic to witness.
And he's been, since when my dad passed away, like almost 26 years ago, 1999. He's always been like, hey, if you ever need advice or help or just want to chat, he's always been available. And I have to say, like his experience as a business professional and what he's produced in his career. And I mean, I went to his 80th birthday party, and I think the CEO of that company was there speaking your virtues. Again, another weird
Yeah.
intersection. Well, I forgot his name,
Yeah.
but I think you had
Scott.
together.
Scott.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Scott Elster.
So stuff I would never have thought to put together. But if you and I weren't studying business together in the course that we're in, like none of that stuff would have happened. So
Right.
really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I
It's amazing.
wanted to ask you a little bit about. Like explain to the audience who doesn't know. Pretend that our audience has never heard of EOS. Like, how would you explain it, and how did you get involved with it?
Yeah. Well, first, from a big level, EOS just helps business owners get what they want from their business. So that's the big picture.
Right.
And then how it does it, it's like a set of real world practical tools. There's nothing new here. The beauty is in the simplicity of the tools. These tools have been around forever. They're going to be around for another 1,000 years. They're just simple tools, and the way they're put together makes the system work, among other things.
Yeah.
These tools help companies do these three things we call vision, traction, and healthy. And you experienced this when we were working together.
Yeah.
First, we got the leadership team 100% aligned around the vision, kind of where you're going.
Right.
And then and how you're going to get there. Then we started to build the traction towards that vision, day in and day out, the discipline and accountability to execute on that vision. And then third was healthy, getting the team to be a healthy team, because a lot of times they're not. And we worked on that. And so as we do that with the leadership team, ultimately the whole organization gets aligned around the vision. Everybody rowing in one direction. Everyone's disciplined and accountable week in and week out with traction. And everyone in the company is working as a healthy team that enjoys spending time together. So that's what we do.
Yeah.
And I've seen it dozens of times, over 55 companies personally, and EOS is implemented in over 28,000 companies.
Wow.
So
28,000.
yeah.
My gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah, worldwide.
Wow.
Worldwide. So how I got into it?
Yeah.
Real interesting story, because as you know, before EOS, I was like a part-time executive. I was either operations or finance for many companies. Before EOS, really over 35 different companies.
Really? I didn't
And
know that.
yeah, I was working 2, 3, 4 companies at a time, pretty much my entire career.
Incredible. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was the right move, but it took a lot of time. The problem was my first entrepreneurial company that I joined, I was the number 2 person there, and I spent 100 to 120 hours a week getting it to go. And after you work 100 to 120 hours a week for 2 years, working 70 to 80 is like a walk in the park. So I just kind of continued that. But anyway, I had moved to Idaho. I was here in 2016. I'd moved to Idaho from California, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I was here in 2016, and I was traveling all over the country for these clients. I was going to Peoria, Illinois, someone we know. I was going to Atlanta, Georgia. I was in Tucson. And I said, I really want to do more work here in Idaho, but I don't know anybody. I don't have a network here. So I decided to take all the tools that I had used, put them together, and put them together in a simple way to explain them. I was using some concerns of business that we learned in the AGI course of where businesses can focus. And AGI course was invaluable for that. Yeah. And then I had a questionnaire, like a health checkup. Now, if you know anything about EOS, when you look at this, it looks very similar. So a common friend of ours, Arun, I was on a walk with him, and I was telling him and showing him what I was doing. And Arun says, wow, that kind of looks like EOS.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was June of 2017. Wow. And we were walking in San Jose. I remember the exact spot he said it. And I went and read the book from EOS and was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I had no, what do you call that, ownership. I didn't have, it's, I didn't own my system really. And when I saw EOS, it was so beautifully laid out. And I could see, because of our studying, I could see fundamentally how it's so good for any kind of business.
Right.
And I was like, I'm in. And I couldn't believe like they actually train us how to do this. So I jumped in full force in November of 17. Been doing it
Wow.
ever since.
So we probably started working pretty close to 2018, 2019, I think. 18 maybe?
Uh,
Because the
I
pandemic was
thought,
2020, and I know we had been working with you for a bit already up to that point.
yeah, I think it was probably late 2019 when we
Okay.
started,
Yeah,
if
that
I
sounds
recall. Because it was pretty close to the pandemic. We might have had one or two meetings, and then we were in the pandemic. And
yeah, yeah,
and so some of our meetings were wholly focused on what are you going to do to survive the pandemic.
yeah,
And then you had series after series of outside effects,
yeah,
outside threats coming at you that you had to handle.
yeah.
Uh,
Still do.
next one being,
It's like this doesn't seem to end.
right,
Yeah, that was so. For context, for those watching, we started working together, and the reason that we'd known each other, we'd been studying business for a long time, and then you had introduced me, and I think we were having lunch at one of the conferences we went to, and I was explaining how yes, we have these meetings and they last for 4 to 6 hours, and then we'll have another one, and nobody even remembered what we talked about in the first one, and nothing's getting done, or I'm moving anywhere, and it's driving me freaking insane, and I don't know what to do. Like
yeah,
I can't seem to corral everybody around like a common goal, and it's more like venting and frustration and no commitment to move forward. And not like the intentions weren't there; they just didn't know how, and I didn't know how to lead them through it. Like I was really struggling with it.
mm,
So you came in, and I said, "Listen, I cannot make this decision because if I mandate this thing, what's going to happen is everyone's going to try to prove to me that I was wrong."
right,
And then it's just going to be counterproductive. So they got to buy in and be okay. And if everyone's okay with it, then I fully endorse it. And that's what happened. Well, not
yeah,
everybody. I got to say, there's people that didn't even bother to show up or didn't really want to be there. I think some people are just like, well, fear of missing out. I got to show up. And that can be difficult, right? Because we're a family owned and operated business. So the philosophy is different than what I would speculate. Well, having worked in big companies in the past, I'm like, you show up and you have the role and you do your job. But in a
right,
family business of now we're in the 69th year. Next year's our 70th anniversary,
amazing,
and
yeah,
what I kept running up against was I couldn't get a unified answer from anybody about who we were and what we did,
right,
and it didn't matter because we
right,
were so successful. Who cares?
right, exactly,
We're making money anyways. I still knew that we needed to do something, which is where you came in and helped. But then things changed, right?
yeah,
So you came in and helped us refine. I mean, the first thing I remember was how to have a meeting. Like it's called. How do you like? Tell us about that. What did you
right.
teach us on that one?
Well, that's one of our tools, or how to have great meetings. It's called the Level 10 meeting, and we teach that on our first day together. And the beauty of EOS is if you just take that tool by itself, it's going to have a tremendous effect. It really changed the structure of your meetings, I remember. I mean, some people were resisting it a little bit,
Yeah,
uh, but when a lot of times there's resistance when you implement something new, and a lot of people will resist it until they are convinced that you're not going to stop.
yeah,
Because so many companies are used to the book of the month club, where the CEO throws a book at them every month and, oh, we're going to do this month, and then we're going to do this next month, and it always changes. So a lot of the resistance in these companies is just people like seeing how committed you really are. And you were totally committed, and your team started to get the hang of it, and you started to have more productive meetings. I saw it change month after month
yeah,
and got better and better. And that's the beauty of the system, is you just need one tool, but the best part is the synergy between all the tools and how they work together over time.
right.
Because as you and I know, it takes time to learn something. You need that recursion over time where people can use the tools in different situations and really start to learn and take advantage of them.
Yeah, that is so
So,
true because what I
yeah,
started to notice was well, we had things happen, right? So we started working together. We had the meetings. Then we had to go to Zoom for everything. It wasn't in person anymore. And then
Yeah.
we were having issues with the new concepts we were opening, the grills, and ultimately the pandemic hit and really killed those, and we had to make the hard choice of shutting those down because they just weren't there wasn't a way we could see to pull out of that nosedive. And then we had opened
Right.
our newest Long Beach location, and then the pandemic hit 6 weeks after. If 6 weeks, it's probably less than 6 weeks, and we had to really pivot and figure out what are we doing there. And I think what really showed up for me there was how every one of the owners, like the ownership members of my family, had a different idea of what that business needed to do to be successful. Right. In some ways, and because their background of looking at it was different, right? I look at it as like not me, but one person might look at it as an operator and think, well, operationally, you should operate it this way. I might be looking at it more as a visionary, right? Which is one
Yep.
of the things we learn in EOS is like there's a visionary in every company. I'm the visionary. I'm looking at the bigger picture of the company. I'm not down in the weeds looking at the day to day like grind. Like most of my family are operators, and then there's some that are
Hmm.
kind of can bounce back and forth between the vision and the operations. I really don't like operations. I could do it. I have no desire to.
All the things that you were talking about there, Mike, about the Long Beach opening during the pandemic and the grills and what to do with them. You
Yeah.
know, from the EOS standpoint, those are just issues to solve. But
Right.
you had your team with all their different perspectives. We had to get them all on the same
Yeah.
page. And they were all at different levels, seeing things from different angles. And we spent a lot of time, facilitating them to get on the same page and see, what the right step was that you were already seeing the steps,
Yeah.
but you needed to get them on the right page. And part of having me in the room is I was able to call things out, and you didn't have to be the bad guy.
Yeah, and
Uh,
that's a good point because I think, well, a couple things. One, I think a lot of people just thought, well, Nathan's just going to come in here and tell us what to do. Why does he just tell
yeah,
us what to do? I know he knows what we need to do. And it was like, no, you guys need to figure it out on your own. You were really just giving us guidance to solve the issues on our own, not to solve them for us. And that's like,
exactly. That's it.
it's the same thing I see with AI now is everyone's like, well, AI told me to do this. So it's not my
Right.
fault if it doesn't work. This is what
Yeah.
ChatGPT told me. I'm like, well, that's great, but
I
I
mean,
didn't
if
work
you're
for
a
me.
leader on a leadership team, you're responsible. You can't have anyone come in from outside the company, tell you what to do, and then deflect the responsibility. That just doesn't work. It won't work long term for the company.
Yeah.
Uh,
The, the biggest
so,
the biggest challenge I saw was that everybody was in their own boat and not rowing in the same direction. Everybody was
yeah,
kind of rowing against one another towards what they thought was best. And a lot of that
yeah.
was emotional stuff, and we had to get some other coaching to help us get through that so we could implement EOS more
Hmm.
effectively. And that's a bigger conversation. But in my assessment now, I see that we're all rowing in the same direction. We're not always in the same boat, is what I think is the next challenge I have. So it's huge progress. We're making some crazy things happen. We've had to shut down locations. We've had to reinvent a lot of the stuff we're doing. We've had to bring in outside help and cope with challenging philosophies to what we're doing. But I really like I was saying in the introduction. I don't think we would have gotten through the pandemic or what happened with us in our legacy location being evicted 2.5 years ago without the systems and tools that you helped us implement. Like I really don't.
Well, I'm humbled by that and grateful for that. That it helped because I know that for you guys and a lot of companies, it would have been a lot rougher and a lot different without the tools. And it's just the set of tools. And, shout out to Gino Wickman who put them all together with his obsession around them
Yeah.
to make it really good. And we're just like out there trying to teach them and get teams aligned. And you guys had like 50 plus years of cultural history of doing things a certain way
Right.
and everything aligned around the family. So there's good things about working with family, and sometimes there's challenges. And some of the challenges are that the way they make decisions over time, as the business grows, it may not be the most effective way.
Yeah.
And so what we were doing was changing that, and it took a little bit of effort, but you've gotten there now, and I think
Yeah.
you have a lot of alignment.
I noticed like one of the things you and I had studied prior to OS was the sort of the fundamental importance or value of language, especially shared language. And
Absolutely.
it's like I think that the way I've always held it is, if you don't have the language for something, you can't actually think about it and you can't actually do it. So what I notice a lot of times is there's a certain amount of frustration. Well, just do it this way, but they can't articulate the request effectively. And so the
Yeah.
people that are looking at him like, I don't know what you're talking about. And that was one of the problems we were having with these 4 hour meetings is I can't understand what we're yelling about. Like I understand the fundamentals of what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go. But the people that we had in the team and some of the people, even to this day, some of the people I have in the team, they're still learning EOS. They don't have the, like I was just having this conversation with the person that's now our integrator. So in EOS, there's a visionary that's me. There's an integrator that we work together. He works to integrate my vision to all the major functions in the company, right? And in our case, it's
Yes.
HR, marketing, business expansion, finance, and operations. And he's actually in both roles. And it took me some time to understand this because I've been trying to, when I listen to him speak, I'm always looking for what's the conflict in this situation you're speaking to me about, so I can help us resolve it, like get to the resolution.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to find it, so I'm asking questions, and he's getting more frustrated with the questions. And what I realized in the last week or so is like he's had 30 years of corporate restaurant experience in different businesses.
Right.
They've used like the 1 minute manager. They've used Jack Welch's system of like letting go of the bottom 10% in one system. He has all this different training, like you said, getting a book a month, right? We use this book,
Uh-huh.
I didn't take the time to really ask into that and be curious about what it is you've known for 30 years. I just understand, operations, and you have the standard, like the SOP background that we were lacking because we were just inventing stuff that was going along as a family. We didn't have a lot of standard practices. So as I was listening to him, I finally clicked. I'm like, oh, you're trying to plug EOS into something you already know because you can't help it, right? You have all this information in your background, and this is just one more piece. I just have to figure out where it goes in the puzzle. And so, but he didn't know how to articulate it that way because I had the background to see that and talking
Uh-huh.
to him from some of the philosophy we understood. So I couldn't see it. Oh, that's the breakdown. You're trying to figure out how to incorporate EOS into something you already know, whereas we've shifted the culture to this. And I think he was kind of struggling between I'm the integrator that has to remove roadblocks and help implement EOS company wide. But in my past, I would have done it this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, and I can't figure out where it's at in the system. So I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah.
something I can work with. That was the conflict I couldn't figure out. Have you seen
Yeah.
that before?
A little bit, yeah, getting people on the same page with the language, especially with he came in the middle of the process. So your team was already a certain
Yeah.
bit away down the road. It was becoming a familiar language to you, and he came in later during a crisis.
Yeah, right in the middle of it.
So
Right.
right in the middle of it, and you hired him for a certain reason for his skills and capabilities and who he is, and so he was using those skills and capabilities, and his skills and capabilities in EOS need to meld over time, and you're seeing that because
Yeah.
now you have the language you can, and so that has to happen, but it does take some time, and that's why patience is so important. One of the worst things I see with teams is they get impatient.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
people think like you're changing a business organization. You're improving its the way it operates. You're improving revenue. You're growing at the same time you're working to improve your bottom line and get a higher percentage there. You're taking care of people. You're trying to create a great environment. And you're doing all these things together. It doesn't happen overnight.
No.
It's got to but I see it time and time again with the teams that stick with it. They're patient. There's a time when kind of the angels sing, and you're in a session, and it goes and
Yeah. Oh,
everyone's
this
like,
is what's happening.
yeah, they can't believe where we are right now. I can't believe how great this is,
Yeah.
and that's where you guys are getting to. So
Then that's
if you're not there already,
we're a lot closer than we were.
yeah,
And I mean, I think, we've had all of these situations. Some have been really tragic. It put us in a situation where we really had to be introspective and look at who are we, what are we trying to achieve, why are we doing this? Is it just to work? Are we trying to have a better life for our families and the people that work for us? And it's easy to get comfortable in the labor part of working in a restaurant. You know what? I'm just going to make fajitas all day and forget about the rest of this.
right.
And
It's easy.
really what we've been trying to do, and I think the conversation we're currently having, right up to yesterday, as a matter of fact, was what
Uh-huh.
does it mean to be 100% EOS in the company. And like on the integrator side from operations, he goes, just tell me what it means so I can implement it. And in the leadership team, everyone's like, I don't know how to measure it. I'm not sure what it means. Which tool are we talking about? We don't know all the tools. And I realize even myself, I don't know what 80% versus 90%. Does it matter? Like, what do we, and I stopped, I go, what is our ultimate goal? Like, what's the purpose of doing this?
Yeah.
And it caused everybody to kind of sit back and go, well, we want better communication, self-led teams, people to be clear on what we're doing and make sure that everything they're doing is really aiming at the vision you want to produce. Right. Do we have to be 100% to do that? I don't know. I don't even know what it means. So do you get that a
Well,
lot too?
yeah, I mean, you have a larger organization, so it does take time for everyone to get aligned and row in the same direction. And we talked about that at the very beginning, that it was a little bit larger than other EOS companies, and that you're going to get everyone going in the same direction. You add in the pandemic and all the other issues, and so it was a little bit tumultuous. But you are starting to see that, and part of that is your leadership and your ability to hold the vision, like to really stay focused on that and keep that point in the future. Like, hey guys, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
We need to get everyone going in that same direction. I think you're holding that and reminding people of that time and time again is helping to get you there.
I'll say one of the things that I don't think we could have, I couldn't have effectively articulated in a vision that the rest of the company, or at least the leadership team, could hold on to, as I could see that pathway was opening a new location every year for the next 10 years till we get to 14 locations and valued at, my goal is that we become valued at $1 billion.
Uh-huh.
Now, if I look at
Yeah.
like the integrators, like, well, I don't think we can make more than, I think he had like $175 million total revenue. I'm like,
Right.
okay, that's all this, like, that's all up for discussion, right? We don't know. We're going to have a restaurant with 3,000 seats that was doing 30 million just on its own.
Right.
But if you're in 10 years with inflation, this is the interesting part. We just signed a 49-year lease, and we're trying to do projections out for 49 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, shrimp cocktail might cost $50 in 50 years. That's
Exactly.
impossible. I go, no, but it was 25 cents 50 years ago.
Right.
So we have to be able to think in these longer time horizons. And as a visionary, I have to be able to speak that narrative of how to think about it. It's not going to be $5 for the rest of our lives. The price of things go up. And that's a different way to think about the business and what it can produce and what those numbers will look like and the valuation of it.
Yep.
Which if
And
you're
your costs
just
are going to go up.
if you're head down, butt up working, it's not how you're thinking because it's not normal to think in those longer time horizons. But this really helped us, I think, because a 10-year vision it's a big timeline, big story.
And you have the time to think about those things. You can take quiet time to think about that. And that's where we want to get your entire leadership team to.
Yeah,
We want everyone who's accountable for their different roles to be able to have that time to think strategically, to think, what is this business going to look like in 5 years? What do I need to do to help execute on the vision that we've all agreed to? All of that's super important, and that's where the next level, people aren't used to that.
yeah,
People aren't used to taking the time to just think strategically and where you're going,
yeah.
other than typically the owner or founder. But we're trying to create leaders and people who think long term out of everyone on the team.
Yeah. It's a challenge. I think it's also a challenge when you studied a lot, like we were talking about Greg and his 30 years of experience, and my 25 studying business philosophy, of which you were a big part of. You're in a way, I hate to say it ruins you, but it does change the way you can't unsee what you've learned how to see. So it's like sometimes you're watching a train wreck in slow motion, and I don't know how to stop it.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
isn't going to work.
Yes, exactly. That's where we have to become very good translators.
That's a
And,
good way to put it.
and that's why you can see the vision, and then we've all got to work to translate that vision down into the rest of the organization. You have to do that one-on-one, and you have to do it as a group, and that's what all this is about, helping to make happen.
Yeah, that's great.
Become good translators.
So let's dig in just a few more minutes here on what's an ideal business for you as an implementer. Like, who do you look for, or what is it that you're after?
Well, definitely entrepreneurial companies.
Okay.
So they want to be, and entrepreneurial is kind of synonymous, not entirely, but with growth oriented. They've got to want to grow. They don't want to be, they're not satisfied with the status quo. They want to change. They want to get better. They got a growth mindset. They're really trying to learn from their mistakes and setbacks. And, in terms of size, looking at companies, generally between 10 and 250 employees, but
Okay.
yeah, I have one company with 4 employees. I have another one with 3,500.
Wow,
So
3,500. Oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah. I think they've sold off a business unit now, so it's a little less. But they had 3,500 at one time. I think they're a little lower now.
I mean, that's incredible because I sit here. I have a friend that's used to work for us, and he's in property management and investment. And I
Yeah.
think he's got 5 or 6 people that work for him.
Uh-huh.
And he worked for us, like way back in the day. And he's like, "How in the world did you get this through your company? Like, you got to have a couple hundred, 300 people by now." I know I'm having a hard time with it. I mean, it's much better than it was, but it's hard to see how that was the question with 100%. Does that mean that our bus boys, guys that take out trash, and the dishwashers are having level 10s? And I go, well, I'd like to know what they're seeing.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to be an hour and a half long, but they're going to be working to improve their area. And maybe it's 15 minutes, but they're going to get better every week. When one of the beauties of EOS is that there's weekly reviews and assessments going on. And when you have a growing company looking at things weekly and making an assessment weekly, you've got 52 times a year that you can improve.
Yeah, such a great.
Other companies look at it monthly, so they only can improve 12 times a year. So imagine over time, this is where patience comes in, over time, 52 opportunities for improvement versus 12, or worse, a company that looks at things only quarterly, they got 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Which company is going to do better? Which one's going to grow faster?
Right.
So, we've seen, I work with all sorts of different companies. So we see that growth rate over time. On average with my companies, it's 26% a year.
Wow,
all
that's incredible.
All the clients I've ever had. Yeah, it's been very fortunate. About the companies, what makes a good client? A lot of times they're a little frustrated, and as you and I know, they have to want help.
Yeah, that's so important.
They have to, if they think they're just going to figure it out on their own, they're not good. They're not right for us.
No.
They have to want help, and we guarantee our work, as you know, and I can pretty much guarantee any company that's coachable, that wants help, willing to be coachable, and just accept the process, they're going to do fantastic. And that's what makes a great client, someone who's coachable and wants help.
That's fantastic. So that's the cat, and you can. So one of the offers you have is you come in and do a 90-minute meeting.
Right.
And what do you call it? I forgot the distinction.
No, it's called a 90-minute meeting.
Okay.
And that's on our dime, and that is just where we're there to share what we do.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can impart some value to the client. I want to help them without charge. I want to give them something they can use. And they get to see who I am. I get to see who they are. I get to see if they're willing to be open, honest, and vulnerable with themselves.
Right.
I get to see if they're coachable.
And that's
and
where you can make the assessment of if there's a space to move forward or not.
Yeah, and them too. We just see if there's a fit both ways, and then if they want to move forward, I lay out what it's like to work with us, and then they decide or not. It's really, I don't want to push anyone in because I have to have the client has to want it. It doesn't work if they don't want it.
So that's great. Well, let's wrap it up. Do you want to share some of your contact information in case anybody wants to learn more about what you do?
Sure. My first name is spelled a little funny. It's Nathen, and the email is my first name dot last name, Nathen.Fox at eosworldwide.com. And I'm on LinkedIn. And you and I are connected on LinkedIn. They can find me through you.
As well. Yeah, I'm happy to do an introduction because again, like we were saying when we ran up against the pandemic, and just the short story there is nobody knew what to do. No one had ever been shut down before, and we had no idea. We're just now 5 years later getting our ERTC money from that, so we had no relief really. And And what had happened was I constituted a plan that, listen, we got to keep people working. We have a healthy, people are stuck at home. They want something healthy. We have a healthy meal option, our world famous shrimp trays. Let's create a way to do this. We won't make money on it, but we'll cover our food costs, we'll pay our people and some of our basic costs. And we did a 1999 shrimp tray that we could send through Grubhub and DoorDash or whatever it was, or pick it up. And everyone was like, okay, what do we need to do? And they just realized, okay, this is my seat. This is my seat. I'm going to do the marketing. I'm going to do the operations. And everybody just realized, because we had put together an accountability chart of who was going to be accountable for in the company, thanks to EOS. And they accepted the leadership and integrated, and we launched on it, and it was huge. There was people in our hometown that like, I knew about you guys, but I would never go down there because of the crowd. I just heard the food was good. And they had, because this 1999 offer that we had locals as customers for one of the first times.
That was amazing.
So, and it helped get us through. And it was, like I said, it wasn't a profit maker for us, but what it did do was it produced something for everybody to work on and feel good about, if that makes sense. Like in a really bad time, we felt like we were contributing. And then we also did a Mother's Day event where it all had to be taken home because we're still closed, because it was May. It was May, right? And we were live on TV. I spoke the narrative. We set everything up to take phone calls, and we sold an enormous amount of these trays for Mother's Day for people who are stuck home with their mom. And again, it was because we had these tools and systems in place to plan and launch that weren't there before. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. You know, all we do as the EOS implementers, we're just facilitating the wisdom that exists in the room. We're trying to make you guys better, and you guys demonstrated that, and it came out. So I'm glad it all worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a wrap. If you're watching, make sure to subscribe, and we're streaming on every single channel that you can possibly imagine being streamed on. But you can watch it live. You can watch this video on YouTube. So subscribe, enjoy, share, like, and we appreciate the support. And thanks again, Nathan.
Well, it's been a pleasure being here, Mike. I really appreciate you reaching out and doing this.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to The Fish Factor. I'm Mike Ungaro. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and you can also check out all the episodes of Kings of Fish right here. You can learn more about our restaurants by going to our website, sanpedrofish.com, or you can follow us on our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, etc., at San Pedro Fish, or the TV show at Kings of Fish.